Hello, and welcome to the Nocturnal Astronomer. I'm your host, Atlas Reed, and tonight we're embarking on a celestial journey that bridges two worlds, the magical realm of Harry Potter and the ancient stars that have watched over humanity for thousands of years. J.K. Rowling wove astronomy throughout her wizarding world, naming characters after real stars and constellations that carry their own myths and wonders. We'll travel to brilliant Sirius, the dog star. We'll visit Bellatrix burning in Orion's shoulder. We'll find Regulus beating at the heart of Leo the lion. We'll gaze upon the Andromeda galaxy, and we'll trace the shape of Draco, the dragon coiling around the northern sky. Each name carries stories written in starlight, myths passed down through generations, and real astronomical wonders that continue to captivate us today. If you enjoy these types of videos, I'd appreciate it if you'd give this one a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. And I'm curious, who is your favorite character from the Harry Potter series? Drop a comment and let me know. Let's dive in. We begin our journey with perhaps the most famous star name from the series, Sirius Black, named after Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky. When you look up on a winter evening in the northern hemisphere, or a summer evening if you're south of the equator, Sirius dominates the heavens with an unmistakable brilliance. Ancient Greek astronomers called it Sirios, meaning scorching or glowing, and the Romans knew it as the dog star because it sits within the constellation Canis Major, the greater dog. Sirius shines so brightly for two reasons. First, it's relatively close to us in cosmic terms, only 8.6 light years away. That means the light you see tonight left that star 8.6 years ago. Second, Sirius is intrinsically luminous, putting out about 25 times more light than our sun. The star itself is actually a binary system, two stars orbiting each other. The primary star, Sirius A, is a blue-white main sequence star about twice the mass of our sun and roughly 1.7 times larger. Its companion, Sirius B, is a white dwarf, the dense remnant of a star that exhausted its fuel millions of years ago. The ancient Egyptians held Sirius in particular reverence. They called it Sabdet, and its heliacal rising, the first appearance of the star at dawn after a period of being hidden by the sun's glare, coincided with the annual flooding of the Nile River. This event was so important to Egyptian agriculture and civilization that they based their calendar on it. The flooding brought nutrient-rich sediment that made the land fertile, and Sirius became associated with the goddess Sabdet, linked to fertility and new beginnings. The star's reappearance marked the Egyptian New Year, typically around mid-July in our modern calendar. Greek and Roman writers documented what they called the dog days of summer, the period when Sirius rises and sets with the sun. They believed that the combined heat of the sun and the blazing dog star made these the hottest, most uncomfortable days of the year. While we now know that Sirius itself doesn't actually make our summer hotter, the association between the star and sultry weather persisted for centuries. Ancient Greek poet Hesiod warned farmers about this time in his work, and Roman author Pliny the Elder wrote extensively about the dog days in his natural history. In Harry Potter, Sirius Black's ability to transform into a large black dog connects beautifully to this stellar heritage. Just as the star Sirius is the brightest and most faithful companion to Orion the Hunter in the sky, Sirius Black served as a loyal friend and godfather to Harry. The character's animagus form as a dog creates a perfect symbolic link to Canis Major. Our next stop takes us to the constellation Orion, one of the most recognizable patterns in the night sky, where we find the star Bellatrix. In the Harry Potter series, Bellatrix Lestrange stands as one of the most formidable and devoted followers of Voldemort. Her namesake star burns in the night sky as the third brightest point of light in Orion, marking the hunter's left shoulder. The name Bellatrix comes from Latin, meaning female warrior. Medieval astronomers used this term, though earlier Arabic astronomers knew this star as Al-Najid, the Conqueror. Ancient star catalogs show that this star has carried warrior associations across multiple cultures, fitting for a constellation that represents a hunter. Bellatrix sits approximately 250 light-years from Earth, and when you look at it, you're seeing light that began its journey toward us in the late 18th century. Bellatrix is classified as a blue giant star, much more massive than our Sun at about 8.6 solar masses. It burns at a surface temperature of approximately 21,000 degrees Celsius, compared to the Sun's 5,500 degrees. This intense heat gives Bellatrix its characteristic blue-white color. The star has already moved beyond the main sequence phase of its life, having exhausted the hydrogen in its core. Now it fuses hydrogen in a shell around a helium core, causing it to expand. In stellar evolution terms, Bellatrix is middle-aged and will eventually end its life as a white dwarf after shedding its outer layers. One fascinating characteristic of Bellatrix is that it's a slightly variable star. Its brightness changes subtly over periods of hours, pulsating gently as its outer layers expand and fall back. These variations are small, only about 0.1 magnitudes, which means you wouldn't notice them with your naked eye, but sensitive instruments can detect these stellar heartbeats. The star also rotates rapidly, spinning on its axis much faster than our Sun does. In ancient mythology, Orion himself was a giant huntsman in Greek legends. Different stories give different accounts of his life and death. Some say he was the son of Poseidon, blessed with the ability to walk on water. Others tell of how he boasted he could hunt any creature on Earth, which angered the goddess Artemis. She sent a scorpion to kill him, and Zeus placed both Orion and Scorpius in the sky, though on opposite sides so they would never meet. When Scorpius rises in the east, Orion sets in the west, eternally fleeing his nemesis. Bellatrix's position in Orion makes it easy to find. If you locate Orion's belt, those three bright stars in a row that almost everyone recognizes, then look up and to the right in the northern hemisphere. You'll see a bright blue-white star, and that's Bellatrix. The star forms part of a large rectangle with Betelgeuse, which marks Orion's right shoulder and glows red in contrast to Bellatrix's blue, along with Rigel and Saiph, which mark the hunter's feet. Ancient navigators used Bellatrix and the other stars of Orion for wayfinding. Because Orion's belt sits almost directly on the celestial equator, the line where Earth's equator would project into space, this constellation rises due east and sets due west regardless of where you are on the planet. This made it invaluable for determining direction. Polynesian voyagers navigating across the Pacific Ocean used Orion as part of their star compass system, and Arab sailors crossing the Indian Ocean relied on these same stars. The character Bellatrix Lestrange embodies the warrior nature of her stars named through her fierce loyalty and combat prowess. Just as the star Bellatrix stands prominent in the sky's greatest constellation, the character dominated scenes with her presence and power. We now turn our attention to the constellation Leo and the star Regulus, which shares its name with one of the series' most tragic heroes, Regulus Arcturus Black. The star Regulus sits at the base of a distinctive sickle shape that forms the head and chest of Leo the lion, and ancient astronomers called it the heart of the lion, Cor Leonis in Latin. The name Regulus means little king or prince, derived from the Latin rex, meaning king. This star has held royal associations for thousands of years across multiple civilizations. The Babylonians called it Sharu, their word for king. Ancient Persian astronomers knew it as one of the 4 royal stars of Persia, guardians of heaven that marked the seasons. Regulus specifically was Venet, the Watcher of the North, marking the summer solstice around 3,000 years ago, though precession has since shifted this position. Regulus lies approximately 79 light-years from Earth and shines with a luminosity of about 150 suns. Like Sirius, Regulus is actually a multiple star system, though its companions are much harder to see. The primary star, Regulus A, is a young blue-white star about 3.8 times the mass of our Sun. Two distant companion stars, Regulus B and Regulus C, orbit far from the primary, taking thousands of years to complete one revolution. What makes Regulus truly remarkable is its rotation speed. This star spins so rapidly that it's actually flattened at the poles, bulging at its equator like a cosmic balloon being squeezed. Regulus completes one rotation in about 16 hours, compared to the Sun's 25 days. If it spun just 16% faster, the centrifugal force would overcome gravity and tear the star apart. This rapid rotation means that Regulus is living dangerously, spinning at about 86% of its breakup velocity. The equatorial bulge makes the star's poles hotter than its equator, creating temperature differences of several thousand degrees across the surface. Because Regulus sits almost exactly on the ecliptic, the path the Sun appears to trace through the sky over the course of a year, the Moon and planets regularly pass near or in front of this star. These events, called occultations when something passes in front of the star, and conjunctions when objects appear near each other, have been recorded by astronomers for millennia. Ancient astrologers paid particular attention to Regulus because of its position and brightness, associating it with kings, nobility, and matters of leadership and authority. The ancient Greeks associated Leo with the Nemean lion, a creature from the labors of Hercules. This lion had a hide so thick that no weapon could pierce it. Hercules strangled the beast with his bare hands and wore its impervious skin as armor. Zeus placed the lion among the stars to commemorate this feat. The constellation of Leo has been recognized as a lion across many cultures, from Mesopotamia to Egypt, India to China, suggesting something about this star pattern speaks universally to human imagination. In Egyptian astronomy, Leo held special significance because the Nile's life-giving floods occurred when the sun passed through this constellation. Lions also appeared frequently in Egyptian art and architecture, and the Great Sphinx at Giza may represent a connection between the pharaoh and the constellation Leo. Some researchers have proposed that the Sphinx's orientation and the shaft alignments in the Great Pyramid relate to observations of Leo and other constellations, though this remains debated. In the Harry Potter narrative, Regulus Black's story parallels his star's royal associations and its position at the heart of the lion. Though born into privilege and initially seduced by dark promises, he found the courage to defy Voldemort, ultimately sacrificing himself in an act of bravery worthy of a Gryffindor. The star Regulus, shining at the heart of the lion, seems a fitting namesake for someone who discovered his own courage and nobility when it mattered most. Moving from individual stars to something vastly more immense, we arrive at the Andromeda Galaxy, namesake of Andromeda Tonks, mother of Nymphadora. Unlike the stars we've discussed so far, Andromeda is not a single sun but an entire galaxy containing roughly 1 trillion stars, more than twice as many as our own Milky Way holds. The Andromeda Galaxy, cataloged as Messier 31 or M31, sits 2.5 million light-years from Earth. This means the light you see when you look at Andromeda tonight began its journey across space 2.5 million years ago, when our human ancestors were just beginning to use stone tools in Africa. Despite this enormous distance, Andromeda is actually the most distant thing visible to the naked eye under dark skies. It appears as a faint, fuzzy patch in the constellation that shares its name. Ancient astronomers recorded Andromeda's presence without understanding what it was. Persian astronomer described it in the year 964 as a small cloud, one of the first written descriptions of this galaxy. For centuries, astronomers debated whether these fuzzy nebulae were clouds of gas within our own star system or island universes beyond our galaxy. This question wasn't settled until 1923, when astronomer Edwin Hubble used the Mount Wilson telescope to identify individual Cepheid variable stars in Andromeda, proving beyond doubt that it lay far beyond the boundaries of the Milky Way. The Andromeda galaxy spans about 220,000 light-years in diameter, making it slightly larger than our galaxy. If you could see its full extent with your eyes, it would appear 6 times wider than the full moon in our sky, but most of the galaxy is too faint to see without long exposure photography. The galaxy contains approximately 1 trillion stars, massive clouds of gas and dust, numerous star clusters, and a supermassive black hole at its center with a mass of about 140 million suns. Astronomers have discovered that Andromeda has not grown this large peacefully. Evidence shows it has cannibalized several smaller galaxies over billions of years, absorbing their stars and growing larger in the process. Streams of stars encircle Andromeda in vast rings and loops, the remnants of galaxies torn apart by tidal forces. This violent history continues today, and in fact, Andromeda is currently in the process of consuming 2 smaller satellite galaxies. Here's something that might give you pause as you drift towards sleep. Right now, at this very moment, the Andromeda galaxy is racing toward the Milky Way at about 110 kilometers per second, or roughly 250,000 miles per hour. In about 4.5 billion years, our 2 galaxies will collide and merge into a single, larger galaxy that astronomers have playfully nicknamed Milkomeda. This sounds dramatic, but galaxy collisions are surprisingly gentle events. Stars are so far apart that actual stellar collisions will be extremely rare. Instead, the 2 galaxies will pass through each other like 2 clouds of gnats, their mutual gravity pulling them back together for several passes over billions of years until they finally settle into a new structure, likely an elliptical galaxy. The constellation Andromeda, within which the galaxy appears, represents a princess from Greek mythology. Andromeda was the daughter of King Cepheus and Queen Cassiopeia of Ethiopia. When Cassiopeia boasted that she and her daughter were more beautiful than the sea nymphs, Poseidon sent a sea monster to ravage the kingdom. An oracle proclaimed that only by sacrificing Andromeda to the monster could the kingdom be saved, so she was chained to a rock by the sea. The hero Perseus, fresh from slaying Medusa, saw Andromeda's plight, fell in love, and rescued her by turning the monster to stone with Medusa's head. They married, and when they died, the gods placed them both in the heavens, along with Cassiopeia and Cepheus. In Harry Potter, Andromeda Tonks broke from her pure blood family to marry Ted Tonks, a Muggle-born wizard. This act of defiance against tradition and prejudice mirrors the mythological Andromeda story, where she too became caught between competing forces and loyalties, ultimately choosing love over duty to bloodline. Our journey now takes us to one of the most ancient constellations in the night sky, Draco, the dragon. This constellation curves through the northern celestial pole, and Draco Malfoy's name connects him to this serpentine pattern that early stargazers saw coiling through the darkness. Draco is a circumpolar constellation for most viewers in the northern hemisphere, meaning it never sets below the horizon. Throughout the night and throughout the year, you can find Draco looping between the Big Dipper and Little Dipper, his tail starting near Vega, one of the brightest stars in the summer sky, and his head marked by 4 stars forming a trapezoid shape. Because Draco never disappears below the horizon for northern observers, ancient peoples saw this constellation as eternally vigilant, a cosmic guardian coiled around the pole. The constellation's brightest star, Thuban, holds a special place in history. Around 2700 BCE, when the ancient Egyptians were constructing the pyramids, Thuban served as the North Star due to Earth's precession. Today, we use Polaris and the Little Dipper to find north, but Earth's axis wobbles slowly over a 26,000-year cycle, causing the position of the celestial poles to shift among the stars. During the pyramid-building era, Thuban marked the north celestial pole, and the northern shaft in the Great Pyramid of Giza appears to have been aligned toward Thuban. In about 21,000 years, Thuban will once again become the North Star. Draco's second brightest star is Eltanin, from the Arabic al-Ras al-Tinin, meaning the dragon's head. Eltanin is an orange giant star about 150 light-years away and 47 times the diameter of our Sun. In 1728, astronomer James Bradley was studying Eltanin when he discovered the aberration of starlight, an effect caused by Earth's motion through space. This discovery provided the first direct evidence that Earth orbits the Sun, finally confirming what Copernicus had proposed nearly 2 centuries earlier. The constellation also contains several deep sky treasures. The Cat's Eye Nebula, one of the most beautiful planetary nebulae visible from Earth, lies within Draco's borders. This dying star has shed its outer layers in intricate patterns that resemble a cat's eye when viewed through telescopes. The nebula contains knots, rings, and shells of gas moving outward at different speeds, creating a structure so intricate that astronomers still puzzle over how it formed. This nebula shows us the future fate of stars like our Sun, which will eventually swell into red giants and cast off their outer layers in similar beautiful death throes. Draco also hosts several galaxies, including the Draco Dwarf Galaxy, a small satellite galaxy orbiting the Milky Way. This tiny galaxy contains only a few 100 million stars, compared to the Milky Way's few 100 billion, and it's so faint and diffuse that it wasn't discovered until 1954 despite being relatively nearby at about 260,000 light-years. The Draco Dwarf is thought to contain significant amounts of dark matter, that mysterious substance that makes up most of the mass in the universe but doesn't emit or absorb light. Mythological traditions from around the world have seen dragons or serpents in this constellation. In Greek mythology, several different dragons have been associated with Draco. One story identifies it as Ladon, the 100-headed dragon who guarded the golden apples in the Garden of the Hesperides. Hercules slew Ladon as one of his 12 labors, and Hera placed a faithful dragon among the stars. Another tale says Draco represents the dragon that the goddess Athena threw into the sky during the battle between the gods and the Titans, where it became twisted and frozen by the cold of the celestial pole. Ancient Babylonians saw this constellation as Tiamat, the primordial dragon of chaos from their creation myths. Chinese astronomers recognized these stars as well, incorporating them into their azure dragon of the east. Hindu astronomy included stars from Draco in their nakshatra system. The persistence of dragon or serpent imagery across so many cultures suggests something about this constellation's shape speaks to deep, shared human symbolism. The character Draco Malfoy's journey mirrors some of these myths. Like the dragons who guard treasures, Draco begins as a guardian of pure blood ideology. Like the dragons who must be overcome by heroes, Draco serves as an adversary. But the constellation Draco, eternal and unchanging in its slow circuit around the pole, suggests persistence and constancy. By the series' end, Draco shows that even those raised to guard the wrong treasures can recognize truth when confronted with it. The Black family tree in Harry Potter contains several other stellar names worth exploring. Pollux Black shares a name with one of the 2 brightest stars in Gemini, the twins. Pollux and its companion Castor represent the twin brothers of Greek mythology, though only Pollux was immortal, being the son of Zeus. The star Pollux is an orange giant about 34 light-years away, and it's actually closer to Earth than Castor, which is why it appears brighter despite being intrinsically less luminous. Castor is actually a remarkable multiple star system containing 6 stars gravitationally bound together, orbiting around a common center of mass. In mythology, Castor and Pollux were inseparable brothers who went on many adventures together. When Castor was killed, Pollux begged Zeus to let him share his immortality with his brother. Zeus was moved by this devotion and placed both twins in the sky, where they would never be separated. Sailors considered the twins protective spirits, and the appearance of a phenomenon now known as St. Elmo's fire, a coronal discharge that makes ships' masts glow during storms, was attributed to the presence of Castor and Pollux watching over the vessel. Cygnus Black takes his name from the constellation Cygnus, the swan. This constellation, also called the Northern Cross, flies along the Milky Way through the summer sky. In Greek mythology, several stories explain the swan's presence. One tells of Zeus transforming himself into a swan to seduce Leda, resulting in the birth of Helen of Troy and Pollux. Another identifies the swan as Orpheus, the great musician, placed in the heavens next to his lyre, represented by the nearby constellation Lyra. Cygnus contains Deneb, one of the 3 stars forming the summer triangle asterism along with Vega and Altair. Deneb is an extraordinarily luminous star, a blue-white supergiant putting out as much light as 200,000 suns. It's also one of the most distant stars easily visible to the naked eye, lying somewhere between 1,500 to 2,500 light-years away. The uncertainty in its distance comes from its extreme brightness, which makes parallax measurements difficult. Deneb's enormous luminosity means that if it were placed at the same distance as Sirius, it would shine as bright as the full moon in our sky. The constellation Cygnus hosts many deep sky wonders. The North America Nebula, shaped remarkably like the continent, glows with the light of newborn stars. Cygnus X1, one of the strongest X-ray sources in the sky, contains one of the best candidates for a stellar mass black hole that astronomers have found. The Cygnus Loop, a supernova remnant, shows where a massive star exploded thousands of years ago, sending shockwaves through space that still glow today. Arcturus, part of Regulus's full name Regulus Arcturus Black, is actually a star in its own right, the brightest star in the constellation Boötes and the 4th brightest star in the entire night sky. Arcturus appears orange, a color indicating it's an elderly star that has evolved off the main sequence and expanded to become a giant. Located about 37 light-years away, Arcturus moves rapidly through space relative to our Sun, traveling at about 122 kilometers per second. This high velocity marks it as part of an older population of stars with different orbital characteristics around the galaxy. The name Arcturus comes from ancient Greek, meaning guardian of the bear or bear watcher, referring to its position appearing to follow the constellation Ursa Major, the Great Bear, across the sky. Ancient Greeks and Romans knew this star well. Homer mentioned Arcturus in the Odyssey, and Hesiod referenced it in Works and Days, using its rising to mark the timing of harvests. Because Arcturus is so bright and distinctly colored, appearing golden orange against the blackness of space, many cultures incorporated it into their seasonal calendars and navigation practices. These additional names from the Black family tree reinforce J.K. Rowling's consistent pattern of drawing from stellar nomenclature. The noble and most ancient house of Black truly carries the night sky in its very identity. Beyond the Black family, several other Harry Potter characters bear stellar names. Remus Lupin's first name connects to the mythological founder of Rome, but his surname links to Lupus, the wolf, fitting for a werewolf character. However, There's also a small, faint constellation called Lupus, the wolf, visible from southern latitudes. Ancient Greek astronomers called this constellation Therium, meaning wild animal, and it was associated with sacrifice, as the figure appears to be impaled on a pole held by the centaur Centaurus. The Lestrange family, of which Bellatrix married into, may carry astronomical connections beyond the obvious Bellatrix herself. Rodolphus and Rabastin Lestrange don't have direct star names, but the surname has an interesting quality. In French, Lestrange means the strange one or the foreigner. While not directly astronomical, there's something appropriate about a family associated with darkness carrying a name suggesting otherness, like distant, cold things in space. Aurora Sinistra, the astronomy professor at Hogwarts, has a wonderfully appropriate name. Aurora refers to the auroras borealis and australis, the northern and southern lights caused by solar wind particles interacting with Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere. These shimmering curtains of green, red, and purple light dance across polar skies when conditions align. Sinistra means left in Latin and gives us the English word sinister, but it also refers to the left or eastward direction. In astronomical terms, Sinistra appears in several star names. For instance, Zubin Escamali, a star in Libra, means the northern claw in Arabic, while Zubin el-Janubi means the southern claw, though these originally referred to parts of Scorpius before Libra was separated as its own constellation. Merope Gaunt, Voldemort's mother, shares her name with one of the Pleiades, the famous star cluster in Taurus. The Pleiades, also called the Seven Sisters, is one of the nearest star clusters to Earth at about 440 light-years away. Most people can see 6 stars in the cluster with the naked eye, though it contains over 1,000 stars in total. The cluster is young in cosmic terms, only about 100 million years old, and the stars are still surrounded by faint nebulosity, remnants of the cloud from which they formed. In Greek mythology, the Pleiades were 7 sisters pursued by Orion the hunter. Zeus transformed them into doves and then into stars to protect them, though even in the sky, Orion continues his eternal pursuit, rising after the Pleiades and following them across the night. Merope was the faintest of the 7 sisters in myth because she married a mortal, Sisyphus, while her sisters married gods or divine heroes. The story says she hides her face in shame from marrying beneath her station. This mythological Merope's shame at marrying a mortal parallels the Harry Potter character's situation, a witch from a proud pure bloodline who married a muggle, bringing shame to her family. The Pleiades have been recognized across virtually every human culture. Japanese astronomers call them Subaru, which is why the car company's logo shows 6 stars. Aboriginal Australians, Mayans, Aztecs, Polynesians, and Native American tribes all have myths and names for this cluster. Many cultures use the Pleiades in their calendars, marking seasons by when the cluster appeared in the dawn or evening sky. The cluster's appearance in autumn skies signaled planting time in some regions and harvest time in others. Albus Dumbledore's name, while not directly stellar, connects to alchemy and light. Albus means white in Latin, and white in alchemical symbolism represents the purified state. Combined with Percival, his middle name meaning one who pierces the veil, there's a sense of illuminating darkness. While his name doesn't come directly from a star, Dumbledore represents the light side of the conflict, and white light contains all colors of the spectrum, just as Dumbledore seemed to contain depths of knowledge spanning all areas. As we reach the end of our journey through the stars of Harry Potter, it's worth reflecting on what this celestial naming pattern reveals about the story and our relationship with the night sky. J.K. Rowling drew from a well of astronomical tradition that stretches back thousands of years, connecting her characters to myths, legends, and genuine cosmic wonders that have captivated humanity since we first looked upward. The choice to name the Black family using stars emphasizes their pride in nobility and ancient lineage. Stars are among the oldest things we can see, and the patterns of constellations have remained relatively unchanged throughout human history. By connecting this family to the permanent stars, Rowling emphasized their desire to be unchanging, eternal, superior. Yet stars do change. They're born, they live, and they die. Sirius will eventually exhaust its fuel. Regulus spins so fast it nearly tears itself apart. Bellatrix has already evolved beyond its main sequence life. Even the seemingly eternal patterns shift over millennia due to precession and the proper motion of stars through space. This impermanence hidden within apparent eternity mirrors the story's themes. The pure blood families believed their superiority was natural law, as unchanging as the stars. But blood status proved as arbitrary as the shapes humans project onto random stellar arrangements. The constellation Draco isn't actually a dragon any more than the constellation Leo is truly a lion. These are patterns we impose on chaos, meaning we create from randomness. Similarly, the magical world's prejudices were constructed beliefs, not natural truths. The stars themselves care nothing for the names we give them or the stories we tell. Sirius doesn't know it's called the Dog Star. Bellatrix isn't actually a warrior. Regulus has no concept of kingship. Yet these names and stories matter profoundly to us because they're how we make sense of the universe. They're how we remember, how we navigate, how we mark time and find meaning. The same stars that helped ancient Egyptians predict the Nile's floods guided Polynesian navigators across oceans and helped medieval sailors find their way home. When we look at these stars tonight, we're seeing the same light that inspired those ancient observers, though we understand its nature better now. We know that Sirius's light comes from nuclear fusion in its core, where hydrogen atoms merge to form helium at temperatures of millions of degrees. We know that Bellatrix's blue color indicates extreme heat, and that Regulus's rapid rotation flattens it into an oblate shape. We know that Andromeda contains 1 trillion suns and that Draco's stars have no physical connection to each other despite appearing near each other from our perspective. Yet this knowledge doesn't diminish the wonder. If anything, it deepens it. The mythological Sirius, forever faithful companion to Orion, is beautiful. But the real Sirius, a binary star system with a white dwarf companion orbiting a bright primary star 8.6 light-years away, is equally beautiful, just true in a different way. Both truths can coexist. The stories enrich the science, and the science enriches the stories. The Harry Potter series connects readers to this ancient tradition of looking up and finding meaning. When a child reads about Sirius Black and then goes outside to find Sirius the star, they're participating in something humans have done for thousands of years. They're learning to navigate by stars, not across oceans, but across the landscape of human culture and imagination. They're discovering that stories and science aren't opposites but different languages describing the same profound reality. Each star we've discussed tonight continues burning, heedless of our stories. Sirius blazes in winter skies. Bellatrix marks Orion's shoulder. Regulus beats at the lion's heart. Andromeda spirals through space toward its collision with our galaxy billions of years from now. Draco circles the pole. They'll outlast all human civilization, all our stories, all our knowledge. Long after the last Harry Potter book has crumbled to dust, long after Earth itself is gone, these stars will shine on, waiting for other eyes under other skies to look up and wonder and name and story them into new meanings. And on that note, we come to the end of our celestial journey through the wizarding world. I hope these stories of stars and characters have given you something to contemplate as you drift towards sleep or continue with your day. The next time you look up at the night sky, perhaps you'll see it differently, recognizing old friends among the stars and remembering that you're looking at the same lights that inspired myths, guided travelers, and sparked a storyteller's imagination. Thank you for joining me tonight here on the Nocturnal Astronomer. Until next time, keep looking up.